So I'm going to take you through a personal journey of mine, and to be more generic about this particular app, Byju's the learning app. I'm assuming that we are very popular in Kerala, so a lot of people here have already heard about this app and know a bit about it. So I'm basically going to talk what we did right, what we did wrong, how did we fix the mistakes, and finally how did we have this scaled up to the today's level we have today. Okay, so in the early 2000s, okay, again, I can speak in Malayalam, but I'm more comfortable in English. So questions can be in Malayalam or English, whatever it is. But yeah, I'll do the presentation in English. So in the early 2000s, if you look at it, right, there have been a lot of press on the fact that Malayalis do well in any company, any employment they do in. So people used to say that you look at any company in the world, any successful company, in the top management, there will be some Malayalis. So over a period of time, when this startup boom happened, the discussion slightly changed, wherein people started saying that, yeah, we are very good at being employees, but we are not very good at being entrepreneurs. Somehow we conveniently overlook people like Leela Krishnan Nair, who had built huge offline empires, but always the focus was about online space. There are no startups where there are a lot of Malayalis. Now, I am proud to say that this company, Byju's the learning app, which is considered as one of the successful startups in India today, was built predominantly by Malayalis. So why I wanted to make this statement here today is because Seeding Kerala is about creating entrepreneurs for tomorrow. It is about telling people that you can do very well building startups. So this is an active example, a working example which you have. Okay, with that I'll start and I'll tell you a bit about the company and then tell you how we scaled it up. All the scaling had happened in last 1.5 years. It has happened since 2015, October, November time frame. That's when we exploded. So about the company a bit, it's nothing but a e-learning video platform. It's a bunch of videos, a bunch of tests using some technology to make it personalized, make it intuitive, make it adaptive. So what we did is that we looked at every single class, right from your 6th standard all the way to 12th standard. And then we figured out that whatever we are learning in school is actually repetitive. I was thinking when Rahul was making the session, doing the session, that most of the things we do in our schools are repetitive. 6th standard, whatever you learn, you again learn the same thing in 7th. Again do the same thing in 8th. So we realized that, so what we did is, we made a bunch of videos covering the concepts and topics rather than the classes. And then we packaged it in the form of a school syllabus. The school syllabus is what everyone wants, right? And thus, we created this platform. So we have now courses which will help students supplement their learning after their school hours from 6th standard all the way up to 12th standard. There are also products for competitive examination because that is what every student in the country want to reach out. The JEE, the NEET, the CAT examination, GRE, GMAT. So you say it, we have it. What we have done is create a very, very modular and scalable product. So it has been going very well. So since last 2 years, we have signed up a lot of investors. We have been in news predominantly for it. So some of the top class investors, you have Sequoia Capital, you have IFC, which is the investment arm of World Bank. You have the Chan Zuckerberg initiative, which is the fund created by Mark Zuckerberg and his wife to fund profit and non-profit organizations. So we are the only company in Asia to have got investment from them. So this is predominantly about us. Currently, our valuation comes to around 650 million USD, and we are growing at a CAGR of around 35%. Last year, we grew by 150%. So this is broadly about the company. Okay, I was just talking about what is the cumulative annual growth. That is last 5 years, if I divide the growth at an annualized basis, we have been growing 35% year on year. So that's insane number when we look at the industry we are sitting there. So timeline. So why I wanted to tell you about this timeline is because I wanted to tell you that all these things were not created in one day. It was an effort of multiple years. I would say more than an effort in education, it was an effort of observing what the customers want. So we started on as a coaching company doing CAT coaching in 2007. So what we did, or what our founder Byju Ravindran did is that, he said that, see, fundamentally, CAT is about aptitude and logic. But why is it that every coaching center just keeps on teaching you basic mathematics over and over again? Why don't you teach them logic and aptitude? So he created a module which was only about logic and aptitude. And it started becoming very famous. So in 2007, 2008, 2009 and all, we found that wherever we went to, whether it be Bangalore, Manipal, Bombay, Delhi, we used to have students in thousands sitting and listening to the classes. So the question next was, if this is working so well, how do we scale it up? So that was also the time when this technology called VSAT was coming up. So VSAT is a technology wherein you can live stream your offering to multiple parts of the world. So we tied up with a VSAT company and we started doing VSAT classes. So Byju was teaching in Bangalore, and 20 cities across the country, people were able to see his teaching for live. So then we thought, okay, this looks very good. We should expand it out. So we tried getting into a franchisee model using that. Now the problem with franchisee models is, franchisees are only interested in doing one thing. What is it? Making money, obviously, right? So they saw our classes. They thought that, okay, we are also going to have this kind of audience, no problem, let's sign it up. But that doesn't happen. So our first venture into scaling the process was a big failure. It did not work at all. So we had to move on. That is also, when we were moving on, that was also the time when Steve Jobs jumped up the stage and told that this device is going to revolutionize your next level of computing. He introduced iPad to the world. And that's when tablets became a norm. So we also thought that rather than doing VSAT, why don't we do our videos on a tablet and start selling it? So that is where this video learning program really evolved. Again, as I told you, we were just trying to figure out what the consumer wants. We understood that consumer wants a product where he can learn easily, interestingly, but there was no medium. And that is where this medium came in. So initially we built a product which was just a bunch of videos. We burned it into a tablet and started giving it to the students. Then we realized that there are encryption issues, there are security issues. So we developed an app around it. So once we started developing an app around it, the funding started coming and it started working on. So this also started, so in 2011, that is when we started this company called Think and Learn Private Limited and got into the video learning app-based program. But there also initially it was tied to certain devices. So over a period of time, we understood that if you want to go all over, if you want to reach out to more and more customers, you will have to make it device agnostic. And that's when Byju's the learning app started. So this app and the videos, the way you see it today, took almost 4 years in the making. So finally we launched it in 2015, and ever since then, it has been working very well. So this is the journey. Only reason I wanted to tell you about this is because I want to tell you that it was not built in a day. It takes time. And you should also be ready to change things if you see that certain things are not working. This is extremely important if you want to be a successful entrepreneur. If something is not working, fine. Don't be egoistic about it. Yes, it's your idea, but maybe customer doesn't like it. Pivot it out. Go into something else which works. So what are the transitions we did? We started as a CAT player. Today, we are a K-12 player. 80% of our revenue comes from the K-12 space. That is the supplemented school learning space. Why did it happen? Because we said that CAT is finally about 10th standard math and English. And if people studying for CAT love our product, why can't we use the same concept in K-10? And it worked. So this is one transition. So CAT is pretty much 10% of the business today. Fine, we don't have a problem in that because that's what the customer wants. Second, we were an offline classroom product. We were going to various cities and taking classes. But we moved and became an online platform. Today we don't have any classes. Literally no classes. So that's where we are. Now tomorrow we may become an omni-channel player. The world is moving towards a system wherein you need offline classes, learning centers, plus an online app. It's a possibility. If that is what the customer wants, we'll move towards that. It's another thing. Then yeah, of course, a coaching center to an edtech leader. And when this company started on in 2007, it was not even a company at that time, it was just a group of people, there were around 8 to 10 individuals. Today we are around 2,300 people. So these are the big transitions the company went through. So what did we do right? So from the beginning, from day one, this company was always customer focused. We always tried to see what the customer was wanting from us. And more importantly, what he told us, more importantly, what he did not tell us. So there, when we did classroom sessions for 1,000 people, there were customers who came to us saying that the classroom size is too big. You will not be able to give us personal attention and we will not be able to ask you doubt. That's a problem, right? In e-learning today, that's a big problem, right? Everyone says that, how can I study something from a tablet? Because how will I go and ask doubts? So what we told them is that, don't worry about it, you attend the class and then you see. So the whole point was, when we are doing a concept, we will do it in such a way that no doubts can come out of it. See, it's predictable. It's very, very predictable if you are an experienced teacher that when a student will have a doubt. And an experienced teacher will take a class, always taking into account that doubt. Again, I'm trying to connect your point. It's finally that. It's about solving a problem. Second, although we were an education-focused company, we were clear from day one that revenue is the king. We never went for GMVs or we always said that big and to be successful. So technology is something which we were very, very clear about. And that's what is true about most of the startup today, right? We are all using technology to improve traditional segments, with something which we did. We all kept all the key operations in-house. So if you look at it, we have the sales, marketing, tech and product are completely in-house, while we outsourced a lot of features. So for instance, see, there are certain things which you can do really well. And there are certain things which you can't do well. For instance, if you look at most of the marketing companies, right, they try to do this media planning in-house today. Now what do you mean by media planning is that you talk to all the channels, the TV channels or the radio partners and try to negotiate rates with them. But believe me, that is not something you can afford to do. You will only be wasting time. So we realized all these things in the beginning itself and we said that there are certain things only agency can do. They are the experts in it, let them do it. So few things we kept in-house, few things we outsourced. So here is where one of our investors helped us a lot. So Sequoia Capital, who came in as one of the initial investors, helped us a lot in these areas, which also helped us create a structure which was clear. Another was hands-on approach. So all the people at the top are very, very hands-on in this company. We never ever lose out an opportunity to make an impact. Whether it be PR, whether it be upgrade in technology, whatever it is, we try to use it to our advantage. Another thing which did work for us was this use of rookies. So in every segment we have, be it product, technology or sales, we have this habit of taking people directly from college. Either freshers or people with 1 year of experience. Then we train them and then we tell them, you have to go and do it. Now this has worked so far. And I'm seeing that a lot of people who have really worked this out are people from Kerala. We have a large force of people who are Malayalis and who have been doing this. You know what is the best part about this? The best part is that they don't know any benchmarks. So if you have a sales guy who is a fresher and you tell him that you have to do 5 lakhs of sales this month and you motivate him, he will do it. While a person with experience will come and say that in my last company I was only doing 1 lakh rupees. I don't think this is possible. So what was happening is that because of the culture which was there, this was actually multiplying the growth we had. And we always have been like this. None of our product team people were experts from the industry. These are people who were recruited fresh from the college. They learned the software, Googling it out, and then they created these videos. None of these things were done by experts. So this is another thing. So especially when you have a startup community sitting here who have got doubts about themselves saying that, am I at the same level as my Silicon Valley peer? This is the answer for you. In this flat world where every information is available online, nobody is behind anybody else. If you can take the effort, if you have the motivation, you are the best in the world. And this company is a proof for that. Then this was another thing which I was telling you. We had changed model multiple times. In the startup world, we call it as pivoting. Okay, I am not saying that we pivoted a lot, but we had tweaked our models whenever we saw that it was not working, or when we saw that this was not giving us the growth that we want. See, the CAD business was working very well. We were almost number one in the industry at that time. Still, we moved out because we wanted to grow at 10 times the pace we were going at that time. So that's a decision. But that decision you should take without any emotions. If you're not able to do it, you will be stuck in the same problem. So this is something which again worked with us, and we had faced so many problems, so many failures on the way. That will happen. That's part and parcel of the game. You should never get bogged down. You should move on. Next problem we'll solve it better. Another thing which, see, whenever I meet entrepreneurs and startup guys, especially from Kerala, there is always this doubt that, should I let an investor in? Won't he take my company away? I'm telling you, in this new world, funding is necessary if you want to grow. And growth is necessary if you want to survive. So there is no option. You have to do it. So don't be biased about these kind of things. So these were some of the things which we did right, which I wanted to discuss with you. So if I tell you a bit about our business model today, what we do is, we have, I would say, 3 blocks or 3 steps in our entire business model process. The first step is acquiring a user. So we work on a model called as freemium model, which is what your Jio or Facebook, all these people you can say, these guys are working on a freemium model. So what we do is, all our marketing are around a free app. So if you look at any of our campaign, be it a digital campaign, be it a TV campaign, be it a newspaper campaign, whatever it is, it will be always about download a free app. Download a free app, that's all we'll say. Download a free app, fall in love with learning. So this is our user acquisition strategy. The free user comes in like that. Once the free user comes in, now this is where, so this is very similar to most of the other internet companies, right? But after that is where we are different from others. So what is a typical way of thinking in the startup community? A free user will come in, he will explore your product, he will be impressed with your product, and then he will pay for the product. Isn't it? That doesn't happen in India. I'm telling you, that doesn't happen in India. Nobody will pay for the product if they are getting it for free. They will figure out ways, they will figure out competition who will continue to give them free. That doesn't happen. So that is where we are different. What we do is, when the user is using the free product, our sales team gets in touch with the user. Now our sales team is a set of engineering and MBA people who are already gone through this drill of education, competitive exams and things like that. So they are mentors more than sales guys. So what they do is that they speak to the student about their education, about the product, and tell them how they can utilize this product in the best way in sync with their school program. So they ensure that the product is integrated in the way the student learns. Now once the product is integrated in the way the student learns, it becomes a habit. So then the sales guys do not need to make a pitch. The student or the parent will themselves ask, how do I use it for 1 year? Because the subscription will be over in 15 days. So this is where the difference comes. It's an assisted selling model wherein the customer is actively assisted to discover the features and to use it during the free user period so that they will upgrade. This is the reason why we are able to get very, very good conversion from this freemium model. Otherwise, it will not work. The cost of acquisition of free users in this kind of models are very, very high. The model will just collapse. So this is where the second step is. So it becomes a paid user. Now, once the student becomes a paid user, is where the next step comes in. See, typically any product, when a person takes a paid user access, the tendency of the company is to stop following up how the usage is. But we don't stop there. We track the student, how the usage of that student is. See, we do it in 2 mechanisms. Here is where a small problem comes. So I told you about the free user, right? The free user app is an online app. You can download it from your Play Store or from your iTunes Store. Now the issue with India is that when you have a free app which is using internet, people don't bother. But when you're buying the subscription for 1 year and still you say that subscription plus internet charges are required, people are not very keen on buying it. Still in India, people think that internet is very, very pricey. So that is where when a person moves from a free user to a paid user, what we do is we give them an option to buy an offline product. Offline product will be shipped to them in the form of an SD card. This works two ways. One is in giving the user a problem, the price problem of internet is solved there. Second is that because this is an educational product, the parents are not very keen about their students having unlimited access to the internet. So if it's an offline product, they are also happy about it. So we try to solve these two problems. But this also provides another issue. Once the user is an offline user, how do we track whether the user is using the product well? How do we know that the student is actually making improvement by using the product? This is a black hole we have a problem with. And that's very important because we are finally selling an educational product. We want them to be happy about it. We want them to refer. We want them to come back next year again, be retaining customers. So we try to solve this problem by having another mentoring team. So what the mentoring team will do is they will do regular calls to the students, figure out how the usage is, tell them tips to help with the examination, things like that. So this is the 3-step process. Now slowly with the coming of Jio, the internet perception price is coming down. As a result, customers are fine with buying a 1-year subscription in an online mode also. So that is helping us solve the problem. Now we are able to track our usage, track our students' usage on when they are studying, what they are studying, what is the average number of hours they are studying, things like that. So slowly moving in that. So this is how the business model is structured. And this is again one point anyone who is looking at this kind of a business model should understand. You should be finally following the customer even after the sales. It's extremely important in this world that the customer is regularly happy with your product. Otherwise, nobody will come. And information spreads like crazy in this world. So this is about the business model. Now, what were the scaling challenges we faced? The first thing we had was scaling marketing. See, as I told you, this product starts with a freemium user, a free user. Acquiring a free user or the customer acquisition charges are very, very high in the internet world, especially when there is so much of competition from the offline classes. So we were facing this issue of how to scale it up. Okay, so what is the obvious channel you will use if you are selling an internet product? If you are selling an app, which will be the obvious channel to do marketing? Digital, right? It will be digital. But the issue with digital is insanely expensive. Your each customer will end up, you'll have to spend around 600 to 700 rupees in acquiring a customer. That will not make sense at a business model level. Maybe it will make sense for Flipkart, but it will not make sense if you want to build a profitable business model. So what we did was, we tried to change the marketing mix. Now this is very counterintuitive. If I say that I am getting free users more through TV than through digital for an internet-based product, it is tough to believe. But that is what is happening. So we tried investing, or we tried changing the mix of the marketing in the right way, in a very non-intuitive way, but it has worked for us. So TV has been really, really working hard. What we did is that we tried focusing on programs which was watched by parents and students together. So the insight there was, when there is a program which is being watched by parents and students together, students normally don't like it because they are forced to watch it. So they will be tinkering with the parents' phone. And if you have an ad at that time, which is targeted at the students, they will end up downloading. And this has worked really well. Second thing which we worked was, we have been following cricket. Most of the cricketing events, you have seen the championship trophy also, right? So we are an associate sponsor. So what you see is that most of the Indian homes, right, they switch on their TV all the time when there is a test match or a 50-over match that is going on. Nobody will seeing it. It will be on all the time. They just want to see the score. the person who will be most prominently seeing the TV will be the child. And if you are coming prominently during those matches, people will end up downloading the product. So these were some of the insights which really helped us scale our marketing and then in return scale the sales teams. Scaling teams or scaling the sales teams. So another thing which we have believed right from the beginning is that rookies or freshers will do the job better than people with experience. So if you look at our entire company, only the top management will be the people who have some experience externally. All others were directly taken out of campus or with 1 year of experience after campus. So what we do right is that we have a very, very intensive training module. The training is generally handled by very senior people in the company and includes both an on-job training and a boardroom training. After that, they are told to go and do their work. So that is how it has been working out. And finally, scaling the sales channel. So initially, we only had an inside sales team, which was calling and converting the customers. Today, we have multiple channels. We have an e-commerce channel. We have a franchisee channel. We have a direct sales channel wherein the sales guys are going to the customer's home and showing the product. Now, this became important because we changed a lot of things in the product. So this year, when we upgraded the products, we made it more personalized. When I say personalized, what will happen is every topic, there is a learned journey. So the student, depending on their nature of usage or the way they study, the journey is automatically configured. If it's a weak student, the student will have to go through multiple modes or multiple modules before coming to the actual problem. If it's a very smart student, the basic notes will be skipped and gone to the real problem. So depending on that, we have done it. Now the problem in doing such an intensive product is that discoverability becomes a problem. So for which we created this direct sales model, wherein an expert is going to the home of the customer, showing the customer the real product. The power of the product is actually shown there. So this changes, you have to adapt depending on where the product is going. That is how we have done it. So these were the scaling challenges and this was how we did. Now on the funding part, so we have been very lucky to get some of the very best VCs and funds in our kitty. So we, as I told you, we have been always profitable and bootstrapped when we were a coaching company. That's when Arjun Capital, Manipal Group invested in the company. Since then, we have been able to attract very good investors all throughout. So after that, Sequoia Capital invested, Sofina Partners came in, Lightspeed Ventures came in. But we got a big break when Chan Zuckerberg Initiative invested in the company. So they selected us because we were in education, we were making an impact, and we were a product which students actually liked. One of the reasons why they said they really like this product is because today in India, we are being used by students in 1,717 towns. So this is the reach we have got. Be it a small town or a metro city, there is a student who looks and studies from this product daily. So this is one reason they did it. After that, World Bank's investment arm, that's International Finance Corporation, also invested with us because they saw a lot of alignment with their goal of taking education to all. And then finally, we had an investment coming from World Invest. So these are all there in the media. I don't need to tell you, but this is what happened. But you can see that all this happened because the company had a very, very solid business model. We were clear about what we are doing. We are clear about where we want to go, etc., etc. And this is just the closing. So after transitions, where are we today? Yes, we may eventually become an omni-channel player. From today, we are completely online, but tomorrow we may become an omni-channel player. We may have some learning centers. We don't know. Depending on where the customers want us to be, we will go there. Currently, we are predominantly a online player. We have 10 million free users, 10 million people across various platforms who have used our product for free, and around 4 lakh paid users. People use it, paid users use it in around 17 towns across the country. And this is another thing which have really helped us a lot. The average engagement time of the app is 40 minutes per day. So a student, a premium user, that is a paid user on an average spends around 40 minutes on the app every day. Now that's much more than most of the other apps, even Facebook. So finally, an educational product is able to make the student spend so much of time, which is what a lot of people have really appreciated. Then the revenue growth has been robust. Last year also we grew by around 150%, and valuation has been also growing exponentially. And as our founder told recently, the objective of this company this year is to become a profitable unicorn. Maybe the first one. So with that, I'll stop. I'll take questions now. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you, how do you, what is your approach on teaching hardware?
Teaching hardware?
Yeah. Like I have a site, you know the site hackster.io. They have a lot of projects for us to try out. But it is very difficult to grasp because in hardware we need to actually touch and feel the products and everything. And what is companies like, what are your approaches to actually teaching hardware?
Right. So
one more question, please.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about students. I heard the word students like 50 times in your talk. And what about other professionals, like people who want to be retrained? Maybe the Flash developers who maybe want to acquire some new skills, so they could maybe land a new job or things like that. What are your approaches to that? Okay, thank you.
So I'll try to answer the first question. Actually, your both questions are related. You are talking about more of vocational skills, training for vocational skills rather than students, right? So we are currently a K-12 focused company. Our idea is to look at the educational space and see how we can improve the learning in that space. That is what we focused in. On hardware, you're right. If you're, see, hardware and all is finally a very experience-oriented thing. You need to have a lab. You need to try out things. Then only will you be able to do that, right? So that's one reason why we are not trying out. We don't have products in that. We don't have products in training or all those things. What we eventually want to do is, if you look at, so let me draw a parallel. When it comes to students in 10th standard, 11th standard and 12th standard, they have these labs where one level below, practical experiments are happening, right? What we have done is that we have flash-based, I won't say it as game, flash-based simulations in the app which can be used to do these labs. It's not part of it now, that is in the working. So it will not give you the exact experience, but it will give you a head start before going to the lab. Eventually, you should do a lab experiment. But if you think about it like this, if you're doing a course in hardware, if someone gives you a video on how it works, and in between the video, you are asked to do simulations, step by step, won't you be prepared before getting into the board? So this is the approach we are trying to do. But it's very complex, because finally, you will be able to give that experience of the app only if the app size is small. And simulations makes it very fat. So you'll have to figure out a way to make it seamlessly happen. So this is one reason why this entire development is delayed. Second question to answer you, you're talking about again vocational courses, right? Yeah.
Some fields get outdated, right? Like Flash development was very interesting maybe 5-10 years back, and now like you can actually embed a video.
Is very interesting now.
Yeah, Android developers, maybe, I don't know, maybe a new platform could come, and existing people need to be retrained. Like I have seen some international companies such as Udacity actually trying it out, and I was not exactly mentioning about vocational training. I was like, Udacity has a course on robotics. They actually teach you how to do things like that. But it is not, they don't give any hardware. Like you actually watch videos, but how much can you learn by just watching, right?
That's true. No, I totally agree with you. You can only learn to one level. And that too, if you have a simulation running in parallel with the videos. Finally, you will have to go to a lab. So that is why I told you about this omni-channel, right? Finally, where we are seeing the education to go is finally become an omni-channel system. That is, there will be an online part to it. There will also be an offline part to it. So think about, so there will be labs across the country, right? Think about a player like us who is having an online product, tying up with all these labs and telling them that these are our students who are our users. After this level, they will come to your lab and do this thing. So that is where the world is slowly moving to. There are companies which are already working in that manner. So that is the only way you can do things like this.
Okay, finally, do you think there is an opportunity in bringing hardware into the online, figuring out some method of,
See, we believe that the skill sets which are required to be successful in the next generation is not the same as what is it today. So today, if you look at people, people who really see that, even kids who are 6 years old, 8 years old, 10 years old, are working on developing their coding skills. Okay, because what is told or what is believed is that in the next generation, the skills which will make you successful will be logic, coding, and aptitude. So shouldn't you be training in that? Again, the same thing is connected to your hardware thing also. If you're talking about logic and applying logic in hardware and software, maybe you need to have courses in that. I don't know. That's a question which I can't answer, but eventually it may happen. And people like us will have to be geared up for that.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yes.
My question is regarding the valuations. You said you are valued nearly at $640 million right now. So from what I heard, typically the valuation is 10x your profits. So what yardstick you have arrived at your valuation?
Yeah, so I am not supposed to talk too much about valuation. So when I was coming here also, I was telling that I will not discuss much about it. But the fact is I will not touch on the exact data, but I'll tell you generally what happens. See, in the startup world, the valuations are not based on the typical valuation metrics we learned in MBA. It is not based on an X of your profits or revenue. It is finally based on what is the potential you have as a company in future. So that is the only reason why a Flipkart is valued at 11.6 billion USD. They don't have any profits. If you try to do a multiplier of 0, you will get 0 only, right? So you cannot relate it to the conventional valuation or the cash flow diagrams which we learned in MBA. That doesn't work today. It all is based on future. But it has worked also, right? Think about a Facebook, an Amazon. When they got their valuation, when they even came to the stock market, they never had profits. But look at where it is today. People who invested at that time made money. So it's based on that. It's based on who will be the companies of the future.
Help them with the help. My question is, do you have a mechanism to gauge the outcome of the users?
Yes.
Like, what is a marginal improvement in your capability?
That's
do you
right.
have it?
That's right. We do have it. So there are two ways of doing it. Okay, so one aspect is about the patterns. So a typical way anyone would like to answer this question is that I can say that we are using machine learning capability and analytics to do that. But the fact is that it's not that complex as of now. What typically happens is there is a way in which a student learns, which is based on what is the time they spent on the product, on seeing videos, how are they improving their marks when they take similar kind of test, which is also in the product. And second is, what is their regularity? What is their frequency of coming into the product? Are they using it only during the examinations? Do they have a regular thing? So there are a lot of metrics based on this we can predict. Second is, we also have a team which constantly talks to the students who are existing users to understand from them what is really happening. So it's a combination of all these feedback to understand how the improvement is happening.
So you mentioned that the app provides class without, so that the students, there won't be any doubts, right? I think that's an ideal situation. So in order to make a classroom, it should be interactive, right? So do the app provides any tools or interacting? I think you got the question, right?
I understood the question.
So because classrooms will become effective only through interaction. So if there is no doubt, means I think it's an ideal situation.
Correct. So this is a typical question we always get. In e-learning, this is a very, very typical question. How can you teach the student if no student is asking doubt? How can you be sure about it? The fact of the matter is that if you look at any class, right, there will be only 1 or 2 students who will keep asking doubts, right? Which is the fact. But I agree with your thing. There will be doubts. So that is why there are offline mechanisms provided to that. So what we do is that any student who has the subscription, if they have the doubt, they can get in touch to us through 3 medium. Either they can go to the live chat, ask a doubt there, or they can mail us, get a complete response, or they can call a number and connect to a mentor. So all these mechanisms are there, but what we actively try to make the student do is, we try to make them solve their own doubts. Because once you have a mechanism like email, the first tendency student has is copy paste his entire homework and send it. Copy paste his entire homework and send it. He will take a photograph of the questions the teacher gave and send it to us, saying that please solve it for me. Right? So, yeah, I mean, there is a large team working on it. So this is an issue. So what the team does is that they will push the student towards solving it themselves. So if they are coming to the live chat and doing it, the possibility is that the student's doubt were already being asked by somebody else. So it will be already part of the FAQ. So that is how we are improving the efficiency. So there is a mechanism, but to be honest with you, that mechanism gets really used 2 days before the examination. Okay, that is what is happening.